Hello and welcome back to Ganesh Institute channel. So this is the last part of aspects of language. First thing, language, and we are going to discuss about formal linguistics. Okay, so far we have discussed about structural linguistics. Now we are going to discuss about formal linguistics. So let's get started. So what is basically formal linguistics is? It is a branch which not only deal with it is a branch of language which not only deals with the description. It also deals with the grammar, the structure, and its meaningful interpretation. Okay, so this is basically a general theory of grammatical structure, and it is further to the critics of Bloomfield. Okay, now who has given it? So this was founded by or given by Chomsky, who was a student of Jellic Harris. Who is Jellic Harris? Basically, he is a post-Bloomfieldian, okay, who believed in the theories of Bloomfield and have added something into it. Okay, so this is about the formal linguistics introduction. Now, what does actually this theory mean? Chomsky believed that an inadequate grammar should provide a basis for explaining how sentences are used and understood. You know, in American structuralism or European structuralism, we have seen that they only describe about how to provide description to English or to language, right? But they were not focused towards the meaningful interpretation. However, it is grammar which provides not only the structure of sentences, which we had discussed, but also the use of sentences, how they are structured and how should they be structured in form of some rules. Okay, this is about the generative grammar description or introduction. What is actually generative grammar? You know, it is the theory of language, as I told you that it is proposed by Chomsky, and he has explained about syntactic structure in 1957. So syntactic means structure of sentence. Syntactic structure, that means rules of grammar and language that define sentences. Okay. Now what does it include actually? It has some principal goals given by Chomsky. First one is universal features and second one is competence. So let's discuss about the first thing first. So universal features. As the name suggests, universal. So I guess you can interpret that it applies universally. So generative grammar should have those features which can apply to language as a whole, which constitute grammar of individual language in formal terms. Okay, and next one, which is competence, means, you know, let's say I am a new speaker and I'm new to French language, but I can learn it. How? If I know the rules of that, right? So competency means formal statements should be provided for characterizing the grammars of individual language so that anyone can speak it on the behalf of those rules. Okay, because this gives competence to speakers to know about syntactic, phonological, you know, the sound, morphological, how it seems to have those on board, and semantic patterning in that language. Semantic patterning means the structure. Okay. Now we have discussed structuralism, right? And those who are involved in structuralism are called structuralists. And those who are involved in generative grammar are called generativists. Okay. Now what's basically the difference between these two? So generativists, as I told you, are not only focusing on structure of the sentence but also the meaningful interpretation, right? By applying some of the rules of grammar. So they actually consider linguistics as a branch of psychology. What does it mean? The possible human language specification of a universal grammar. It's not that you learn a structure. Let's say if I tell you that just learn it, rote memorize it, then you can learn it and explain this thing only. But you cannot apply your creativity or psychology in any other aspect, right? In any other topic. But if we give you the foundation of some rules which you can fit anywhere, universally, in any sentence, then you will be able to learn well and apply your creativity in it, right? So this is the aspect of generativists. Whereas for structuralists, as we have discussed, that they construct two aspects, discovery and description, right? So they construct inventories, discoveries of the linguistic elements. They were just focusing on, even now they just focus on the function, the description of the language, okay, and its distribution. Moving on, after structures, after European structuralism, we had discussed about Bloomfield, right? Whoever follow the path of Bloomfield, the theory of Bloomfield, the ideologies of Bloomfield are called Bloomfieldians, and whoever come after Bloomfield are called post-Bloomfieldians. Okay, so if we compare them with generativists, so here we go. You know, for generativists, as we see, that they believe that every step needs to be followed together. Before that, I would like to recapitulate Bloomfieldian methodology. What was it? You know, some of the orders I told you in last video, you can check them out if you haven't seen it. So you can see that there are some orders like phonemes first, then morphemes or allophones, and then there is a series, discourse, syntax, right? Bloomfieldians believe that these are independent, and to find out the structure you can use any of them, any one of them. Wherever generativists, they believe that you have to go through all of them order by order, and then only you'll be able to know about the meaningful functionality of that sentence. Okay, apart from that, Chomsky believed that speaker and his role needs to be considered into account. If I am giving you a sentence that I eat the food, then you can imagine that this is active voice, right? I mean, you can understand this, that this is active voice because subject comes first, right? Now, if I'm saying that the food is eaten by me, this is passive voice. So if subject and object are changing their position, then the transformation is happening. So you have to understand that speaker and his role needs to be considered. This is what given by generativists. This is the theory of them. Wherever Bloomfieldians, what they believe basically, Bloomfieldians have a principle that, okay, functional dependence should be there. I mean, one at a time. If you are considered for morphology, then that is enough. Phonemic study is not required. Okay. Apart from that, so this is an empirical description, right? Description without going further deeper, right? In generativists, if I'm giving you a sentence, I eat the food. Okay. Now this sentence, if you are just considering the structure, then it is intersentential. Okay, you are comparing one sentence and another. Then it is between two sentences. Wherever if you see the words in the sentence, their order, whether everything is grammatically correct or not, then it is intrasentential phenomena. That means within a sentence. Okay, so generativists believe in intrasentential phenomena. All right. Next is synthetic description. So synthetic description, I'll explain you a bit later as well. That Chomsky believed that instead of breaking down the sentence into immediate constituents, one should follow the synthetic process to have a structure of a sentence which can be transformed into another. When we discussed about Bloomfield, the last section was initiate constituent, IC, right? If you want to find out the structure of a sentence, then keep dividing it and you'll get IC analysis, right? So there was analytical approach in Bloomfieldian study, right? Whereas wherever those generativists, they believe in synthetic description. Moving on to next thing, if I explain you that how did Chomsky establish the rules of his theory, the theory cannot be made like this, right? You have to you have to read so many things and then criticize them, then you come up with some of the points, you have to reject some of them, and then a theory is made, right? So Chomsky also established the theory by considering grammatical description. Okay, basically Chomsky's theory is based on the implicit linguistic intuition. Intuition means inner feeling, what you are feeling from inside of a speaker, and that is only about whether sentence is grammatical or non-grammatical. Okay, you know intuition is there. Let's say I'm saying that I eat the food, and if I'm saying I eats the food, then don't you think I eats the food sound absurd? We are not familiar with it. Then our intuition is saying no, this sentence is incorrect. So Chomsky's theory says that for any linguistic, it is important to have intuition whether a particular sentence is grammatically correct or incorrect. And for that, he has given grammatical description and divided it into two parts, which is finite set grammar and phrase structure grammar. Though it is a different thing that both of these description failed. See, what I am explaining you here is that why description is not enough. Why Chomsky's theory has brought into consideration when there was already American structuralism there. So because description was obsolete, outdated, that's why meaningful sentences come, right? So you have to take care of this thing. Why Chomsky disregarded grammatical description, not grammatical functionality. Okay. Why? Let me tell you. Firstly, finite set grammar. What is it? Finite set grammar, as I told you, that if I am explaining you, I am teaching you a new language and I'm telling you, okay, learn only these 5 sentences and you are perfectionist, then this would be wrong, right? Because I am telling you a finite set, it may be the chance that you would not be able to apply these rules or these sentences in any other sentence, or you cannot use your creativity in it. Okay. However, those 5 sentences would be sufficient to speak or to convey your message. It may be the chance, right? So this is communist theory given by communist theorists. Okay. Whereas phrase structure grammar is somewhat related with immediate constituent, as I explained you in Bloomfieldian's methodology, that you have to keep dividing the structure of a sentence. It may be the chance that group of words, which is phrase, you can divide that phrase as well. Okay, so it is somewhat related with it. Now let's discuss how grammatical description was not taken into consideration. Firstly, it was rejected because it could not explain the speaker's ability to produce and understand new utterances. As I explained you just now, that you would not be able to, discover or to create new sentences if you would only focus on description. You have to consider, we usually say that focus on concepts. You will already, or you will get to know about the questions and answers by yourself if you will know the concepts, right? So this theory was rejected because of this. Now if we see why phrase structure grammar was outdated. So firstly, understand this. Phrase structure grammar, how the sentences are broken. It explains this. For example, if I'm saying the man hit the ball, now what it is having, if you just apply immediate constituent analysis, ICs, divide the sentence. Firstly, you can see the man is noun phrase and hit the ball is verb phrase, right? So noun phrase and verb phrase. Further divide it. You are seeing the man has one article which is the, and man which is noun, right? You can see from here that this is article and this is noun. Similarly, what you are having is hit the ball and this is verb phrase. You can use hit, which is verb, and again the noun phrase, the ball. And again you can divide it into article, which is the, and then a noun, which is ball, right? So keep dividing it, and I'm not seeing anywhere the point that this man further can divide, right? It can be divided into phoneme, but that doesn't have any sense, any meaningful thing, right? So this is the basic meaningful thing which you can get, right? But why it got rejected? If you see, it was rejected as, you cannot, it is not sufficient to describe the structure of English sentence. Okay, see it in this way. For this analysis as well, one should know that the is an article, right? One should know what is noun. How you can say noun phrase is this, right? So basic functionality you should know, rules you should know, right? So to distribute a sentence structure, you should know the formation of sentences. You should know about verbs. You should know about the relations. If a passive voice would be there, you should know that the first thing is object, not a subject. So that's why it got rejected. Moving on to next thing, which is transformational generative grammar. It is very, very important. Basically, what is it? You are not only using generative grammar description, but also its transformational aspect, where you will specify a way to generalize the relationships between sentences and their types, and that too with the help of rules. All right, so if you see, it has some functions. Why we are finding it appropriate? Because it is giving us very, very important functions. First is, it is changing the underlying grammatical relation, which is single transformation. I'm saying, you see this example, I eat the food. What type of sentence it is? It is a auxiliary sentence. It is a simple sentence and it is single transformation. Now, if you will change it or transform it into passive voice, you will see the food is eaten by me, right? So because the basic sentence, the simple sentence is transformed into something, this is called single transformation. Okay. Now next you see, John eats banana. This is one sentence. Then Roy eats banana. Common part you can take common. So John and Roy eat banana. What do you think here? What do you observe? That transformation is creating complex sentences, and that too out of simple one. This is called double base transformation. So you see, transformational generative grammar is fulfilling two types of function. First is to change the grammatical relation, active into passive, and then to create complex sentence. That means it can be used for both of the things, intersentential as well as intrasentential. You can join two different sentences as well with it, and you can transform one sentence into another form. Moving on to next part, which is order of transformation. If you are applying transformation, then it cannot be done without order. There are two types of order. One is extrinsic and another one is intrinsic. So extrinsic order means when you specify the rules, it is specifying the order in which the rules must be applied. if I'm saying a sentence, I eat the food, you have to understand that firstly subject will come, then verb first form according to the subject, if it is singular, then object, right? So extrinsic means the order in which rules are applying or applied. Whereas intrinsic means the consequence of the way in which rules are stated. I mean, what type of sentence you are getting after applying the rule, whether it is active, it is interrogative, type of that sentence. Moreover, there are two types of transformation. I'm telling you first one, which is obligatory and optional. See, obligatory means compulsion, right? So obligatory has two sort of sentences or transformations basically. Auxiliary, that means simple one, and do. I'm saying you, I work. Okay, it is simple sentence, and if I want to emphasize this, I do work, right? This shows obligation. Wherever, if you see, I can't, I can't survive without I work sentence. But if I'm saying work is done by me, then this is a passive voice, and this is optional, right? You can either use active or passive. So this is optional sentence. You can say I never work or I don't do work. So negative sentences are also optional. Imperative, where any order, any request is there, because there is no compulsion, way of talking. I'm saying please provide me that pan, please have some water, have a chair, and you can say take a chair, take water. There is no obligation. We'll not say that you have to. Why did you use that word only, right? It is optional. WH family is also optional. Whereas transformation also divides sentences into two parts, which is kernel strings and derived. All those sentences which are formed because of obligatory transformations like auxiliary and do, I'm saying this, I do work. So this is kernel strings. Okay. Whereas if I'm using please give me a pen, this is optional transformation, and then the sentence is derived transformation. So this is what we have discussed. As per Chomsky, the role of syntax, that means structure, is important. It is important. He's not denying with this fact. But you have to determine the meaning also, as we can see in paraphrases, in semantic notations. We have to use transformations as well to make a good impact on our grammar. This is what for today's video, and we'll discuss everything in next class, I mean a new topic. And if you like this video, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. And please do comment if you have any sort of doubt or how did you find it. Like, share and subscribe. Take care. Bye bye.